Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So we're fighting the Spanish-American War. We fight it on two fronts, in Cuba and also in the Philippines over here. Um, so the Philippines were also fighting for independence from Spain. Um, so we fight in both of those areas. We put a blockade on Cuba so they couldn't get anything in or out. That was very successful. Um, and then there were some forces on the island, including four African American regiments and the Rough Riders. That would be this little group right here. Well, I mean, it was more than that, but those were the leaders. Teddy Roosevelt was the leader of one of the Rough Rider groups, which is a cavalry unit, which means they were on horses, and they were like super cool. They were like I don't know, like SEAL Team 6 of the time. So they were able to do a lot of really cool stuff in Cuba and able to get the Spanish to retreat. So we win the treaty. We win the Spanish-American War. We signed another Treaty of Paris. I told you there are like a million Treaty of Parises. It's true. So this one's the Treaty of Paris of 1898. So basically, what it says is that Cuba is going to be given independence. Spain's going to give the U.S. the islands of Guam and Puerto Rico, and then we're going to buy the Philippines for $20 million. So the U.S. officially becomes an imperial power because now we have more than just our nation. Like we've got nations outside of our nation that we now own or in control of, and that would be Guam and Puerto Rico and the Philippines. So I think it was the Secretary of War, maybe can't remember. I think it was the Secretary of War said that the Spanish-American War was a splendid little war because it didn't last very long, and we gained a whole bunch of stuff because we became this imperial power. But so then the Philippines, they kind of believed that whenever we were fighting, that we were fighting for their independence, just like we fought for Cuba's independence. So they were thinking that they were going to get their independence and that we were going to come in and help them gain independence from Spain, and that was going to be that. But that didn't happen. We said, oh no, now we're in charge. And the Philippines did not like this, so they led a revolt against the U.S. It took nearly 3 years to put the rebellion down. It cost like twice as much as we actually spent to buy the Philippines in the first place. So a lot of people start to debate, was this even a good idea? Like, is this imperialism thing, is this a good idea? So we gained a whole bunch of new territories during this time period. So we buy Alaska from the Russians, and we take over Hawaii and get Puerto Rico and Guam and the Philippines from Spain. And some people are starting to debate, like, is this even a good idea? Should we be doing this? So there were several prominent Americans that founded the American Anti-Imperialist League, which was like a group that said, hey, we don't need to do this. And they basically said that annexing the Philippines, taking over the Philippines, would be against America's founding principles. Because if you think about it, we were founded on these principles of like freedom and independence and like not being under the control of another nation. And so basically the Philippines were fighting for that same thing, and we're kind of denying them that. And so a lot of people argued that we shouldn't be doing that. You can see in this political cartoon, this is a really interesting one. So this one is on your activity for this week. So I want to explain it a little bit because it's kind of hard to understand. So this is President McKinley, the man standing there, and he's looking at the Philippine Islands, and you can see that he's got this look on his face like, and he's kind of like thinking about the Philippine Islands, and he's debating taking over them or whatever. And you've got this lady here, so you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but she's got the little scales in her hand. This represents Lady Liberty, right? And so Lady Liberty's holding back the curtain, and she's showing this group over here, this scene behind the curtain, right? And you can see in this scene behind the curtain, you've got this guy hanging from the tree, and these people who are obviously they look dead. And if you'll notice, they're all black. And so, what she was saying here is this stuff is